Yes, welcome. This is Greg Smith, and in this week's video, I'm going to talk about the 4 mindset shifts that I have had that have drastically improved my life. All right, and so the 4 things I'm going to share are in 3 different areas. I'm going to share one from fitness or health, one from wealth, and one from relationships, and then one that I think goes with everything. And so the very first one that was a massive shift for me is this, and I always heard it, but I never knew it to really be true, and it's this: fitness can be fun. You know, oftentimes when we're trying to be healthy or we're trying to eat healthy or we're trying to work out, we can start doing things because other people tell us we need to do things, or start working out in different ways that aren't necessarily fun for us. And for me personally, I have learned that I have a whole lot of fun doing jujitsu. I love competing. I love the physical aspect to it. It goes back to my wrestling years, and I really love just to do that. And so I actually do not lift any weights. I don't do the conventional gym thing. I have done that, and I've had a little bit of fun with it, but what I've realized is it's just not passionate for me. It's not something that like I literally crave to do. Every time I work out like that, I kind of ask myself like, why did I ever work out like that? And now I just do jujitsu at a high level. I do it a lot and I really enjoy it. So the first mindset shift I've really had is that fitness, or health for that matter, can be fun. And that goes for food too. Just recently, I got this machine called a sous vide machine. It's fancy French, so I probably pronounced it the wrong way, but it's a way of cooking. And I used to never cook. It's because cooking wasn't fun for me. But I realized that if I made cooking fun and I made it a game and I created, kind of gamified it, that I could get healthier and I could start cooking and it could be more fun to actually go down that path. And so that's just a couple different examples where fitness or health doesn't have to be difficult. It can be fun, but you have to explore and figure out what that is for you. And for me, it is grappling and jujitsu, and that's what keeps me healthy. Now, mindset shift number 2 has to do with finances or money. Money. And so the mindset shift that I've learned when it comes to money is that money is everywhere. Money, 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 money. Okay, back to what we were talking about. Money is everywhere. And here's what I mean by that. Is when you start to have different lenses or different glasses that you're looking through, especially if you have an entrepreneur spirit or you're looking to earn more money, is that money is all around us all the time. There are so many people that make so much amount of money that you have to learn that money is always circulating. And if you want more money, you have to inject yourself into the cycle of which money is going, and you have to start asking for it. And here's what I really mean by this, is the real shift that I had when I talk about money is everywhere, is starting to have a belief in myself that I am worth the extra money, or I am worth more. And so I read this book. It was talking about the science of getting rich. And it talks about how when you do things in a certain way, you will yield a certain result. And so the mindset that I have adopted is if somebody else can do it, I can do it too. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be, the next NBA superstar because, I'm under 6 foot, I can't jump, and I suck at playing basketball. But when it comes to certain things, when it comes to business or money, is there are different paths that are proven that work. And if you do things in a certain way, you can get a certain result too. And part of that mindset that I adopted, and it's really interesting, people kind of laugh when I bring this up, but I used to think that I wasn't worthy of more money, or I didn't, I wasn't worthy, really, is what it came down to. And I had this revelation that there are a lot of bad people in the world that have a lot of money. Talking drug dealers, mafia bosses, whatever. There are people out there that do a lot of bad stuff that make a lot of money. And so then I started asking myself, well, why would I not be worthy of more money? Well, money, typically we say money is the root of all evil, but it's not. It's the person that controls the money is the root of the evil in which money can do. So you ask yourself, am I valuable? Am I worthy? Well, why aren't you? Money is just a tool. If there's other people out there that are becoming rich or making more money, then you can too. You just have to do things in a certain way. And so my second mindset shift is really that money literally is everywhere, which is creating an abundance mindset and not a scarcity mindset. All right. So number two, money is everywhere. All right. So leading into the third thing, so now we've talked about fitness, we've talked about finances, and let's talk about relationships. You know, relationships for me, you'll hear me talk about if you tune into any of the videos I put out, rather if they're on social media or they're here on YouTube, is that relationships to me are the number one thing in the world in terms of an asset. Because at the end of the day, you can take away money, your health can start to decline, and what matters most at that point is who's surrounding you. Who are you by? What are your relationships? And so the mindset shift that I've had in the relationship realm that has drastically improved my life is that relationships are an asset. Assets don't necessarily have to grow, and they can decline, they can become a liability. And so an asset in a relationship term needs to be fostered. You got to take care of it. You need to grow it, and you need to understand the value of a good relationship. The older I get and the more friends that kind of just go their separate ways and the more deep relationships that I have, the more I realize the value of a great relationship. And so understanding and changing your mind to understand that a mindset is a relationship is a massive asset for you, and it can become a lifelong asset. All right? So take care of the relationships that you have. Sow into them. Don't always just try to reap. That's another lesson within the relationship realm, is that you can't be the one that's constantly pulling from the other person. You also have to sow, and you also have to give. It's a mutual relationship. It can't be one-sided. It's got to be mutual. So provide value to the relationship, and they'll provide value back to you, and nurture those relationships so that way you have a lifelong asset. All right, so that is the third mindset shift that I've had that has massively improved my life. Now, leading into the last one, I believe this last one applies to all things in life. And in today's culture, you know, when I really started growing up, and it wasn't until after I was out of high school that social media really took foot. And after social media took foot or a hold, I saw so many people adhering to this mindset shift, and it was stealing their joy. And it's this, is that comparison is the thief of all joy. Comparison is the thief of all joy. Now, that comparison can be in many different things, right? You go past the magazine rack at your local grocery store and you see Men's Health, and then you kind of look down and you're like, I got a daddy pack, you know what I mean? This dude's got like a 10 pack. I've never even seen, like, who even has muscles like that? That's comparison. That can steal the joy of where you are, all right? The other joys that can be stolen are relationship joys, and it can also be financial joys, okay? Comparing what other people, and by the way, most of the stuff that you see is the highlight reel. You've probably heard this before. Everything on social media is typically the highlight reel. Everything in the magazines are typically the highlight reel. Unless you're reading like one of those dirty magazines, it's all about like how celebrities' lives are turned upside down. And so, and typically if you're reading that, it's just because you might have a poor mindset and you enjoy seeing other people's crazy lives so you can feel better about your own. That's also comparison, by the way. And so comparison has the ability to steal your joy in every area of your life. And so you got to ask yourself, when you talk about your health, your finances, your wealth, right, and your relationships, like, what is success for you? And start defining what joy is for you within those realms, so that way you don't get caught up in comparison and you don't allow your joy to be stolen. All right. In today's episode, what we talked about is the 4 mindsets that massively improved my life. Okay. So number 1 is that fitness can be fun. So go make fitness fun. And by the way, fitness may not, for you, like jiu-jitsu isn't just like working out to me. It's just fun. So you may rock climb and that's fun, but that's a form of fitness. You may have go take walks with a couple of your friends or girlfriends. That's fun, right? That's fitness. And then the second thing is that money is everywhere, as you saw. And then relationships are an asset. And then the last thing is that comparison is the thief of all joy. All right. So if you like today's episode and you got something out of it, comment below what you got out of it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. And until next week, take care, rise above.